Hello, my friends. I am going to show you how to get started with our simple model of evangelism. Here we are on the Bible Reader Team Hub, and when you're on the front page, you just go to Start Here. This is the basics. This is 7 steps to our simple model of discipling. This is how we get started. First of all, we want to recognize step number 1 is to recognize God's calling on your life. A lot of times I find that there are a few specific objections or misunderstandings that people have that keeps them in inactivity. It paralyzes them to move forward in sharing their faith. There's a fear of rejection. The idea that evangelism is only something the minister or the clergy does. There's the thought that I don't have enough time, or they think they need to quit their job in order to go out and do ministry, or all of these different lies that the father of lies creates. And in step 1, our only objection is really to recognize that God has called each of his children to service. And it's basically a systematic approach of dealing with each of these objections, because there's really only about 10 objections that people have which prevent them from sharing their faith. And once we create some answers to overcome these objections through God's word, then people are able to move on to the next step, which is step number 2, make your contact list. Here we teach people how to recognize their sphere of influence and see that they have an influence on people, and it's important for them to use those to bring others to Christ. Many times in the gospel, you see the woman at the well. She immediately went to her kindred and her hometown. She went through her warm contacts, the people who she was closest with. That's how she got started. When you have um, what was it? This is where we teach people how to reach their friends and their family, those who are closest to them. This is how we encourage people to strengthen the new people in their church and to give them support and to change the way that we look at the opportunities that are all around us. There are many people around us who need encouragement, who need Bible study, who have never had personal labor for their souls. And we may think just because they're sitting in the pew, oh, they're set, they're ready, they're prepared. But in all reality, these people need help too. And that's why we want to put this on our contact list. Maybe the ways that we can help the church members is taking them with us to go give other people Bible studies, or finding out helping them to create their who do you know list to see who's in their sphere that they could witness to, or that we could practice on them. And by practicing, it's less threatening for us. I'm getting into the step 4 right now. But we're able to think about this is where we create the who do you know list. And it's like, who do you know that wants to get closer to Christ? Who do you know that has spiritual questions? Who do you know that has a spiritual interest? Who do you know that just went through a divorce? Who do you know that just got fired from a job? Or whatever the experience is, this is true religion, visiting the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and keeping ourselves unspotted from the world. Making a contact list is where we're able to create a list, an active candidate list, to identify who are the people that we know. And it also handles the objection, I don't know anybody. Because the fact is, the average person knows about 200 to 300 people, but they aren't trained to see their relationships as opportunities to share Christ with others. It is through the social relations that the gospel is presented to the world. So in step 2, we're being intentional with the social relations we already have. And why and before we go out overseas, or before we go out to out all over, if we're not being faithful in that which is least, how are we going to be trusted also in much? If we can't take care of the people that are already in our sphere of influence, it's going to be harder to be a blessing and a light to those strangers who don't even know who we are. So there's a mixture. You want to start with your warm contacts and then move on to your colder contacts. That will help us to identify um, who we know, and what our steps are. And so the contact list, step number 2, is basically writing that. And keep in mind that these contacts should be coming from your phone contacts, your email contacts, your Facebook contacts, and your other social media accounts. This is where you look through and you see, who do I know that may be interested in, one, being a Bible reader, to joining, being my partner, or giving Bible studies. Maybe they don't know how to, or maybe they have a burden for evangelism, don't know where to start. Maybe you can invite them to join you as you're going on this journey as a Bible reader with the Army of Youth. Maybe it's someone who could use Bible studies, or maybe it's an interest who it has some spiritual inclination, or maybe it's just someone who's just totally not connected with Christ right now, but they're in pain and they're searching, and they don't know what they don't know, and you want to be a blessing to them. So we're going to teach you how to build that trust and rapport to work with people. But you want to create your list so that you actively see. You want to write it on a page, and once you have a list on a page, it helps you to visually see who is in your sphere, and it helps you to be intentional of reaching out to people in the pockets of your time. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is develop your testimony. Your testimony is so essential. This is the foundation of sharing the gospel with other people. Your ability to influence them will be in proportion to the time that you spend with them, and the common ground that you're able to have. When laboring in a new field, you don't want to bring about all the objections and the differences and what you don't have in common, or try to get them with the peculiar point of your faith, but you want to find the common ground, because it's a common ground that brings us closer to each other. That's what makes people trust us and have that rapport with us. And so by developing your testimony and recognizing how the Lord led you in the past and the teachings of your past history, you can recognize, well, you weren't like, who you are today is not who you always were. There was a history. Usually our experience is incremental in its progressive education, and we don't really notice things that are taking place. But the but as we look back, maybe 1 month or 6 months or 3 years, we see that, well, I'm a different person today than I was 3 years ago, a tremendously different person. And so, and in all of our experience, hopefully we are growing as well. And so when we see that, we tap into the parts of our testimony that people can relate with. And we have a program, that we have a worksheet that helps people to develop their testimony and recognize what is the BC Enoch, the before Christ Enoch, and what is the AD Enoch, or after death. It's like after Christ was accepted in my life. And we can see that where I was going, where I was coming from, and then where I'm going now, and where what I've understood and how it's changed my life, and how these truths have impacted me. This is a great way to understand, one, what is our calling, where is our unique gifts and skills and abilities, and then it shows us the method of evangelism that we can impart to other people. Developing your testimony is so important. This is where Jesus started the demoniacs as they were called to share their faith. They wanted to follow Christ and be a disciple and go travel with them, but Jesus said, no, go back and tell them what great things God has done for you. And That was their experience. These demoniacs, they've never heard a sermon fall from the lips of Christ. They haven't spent as much time with him as did the disciples, but they could share what they knew. They could share their testimony, their experience with God. And as a result, that whole heathen nation where Christ came the first time, delivered the demons, they rejected Jesus, sent him away, kicked him off, and said, "Get away from us." But the second time, after they had published their testimony throughout Decapolis, the whole city came out to hear Jesus, and they gladly accepted his teachings. That's the power of a testimony. And so we deal with that in step 3. It's a testimony workshop, developing your testimony and learning how to share it the right way. Step number 4 is in contact with others. This is a time where we get social, where we share our personal testimony, our walk with God, and we provide training to know how to connect with others, how to speak to them, how to win friends, how to influence people, how to be connected in a more meaningful way, how to meet strangers, or how to change a conversation in a more spiritual light. This is a great opportunity for us to go through our contact list and then start developing those relationships, nurturing them, and honing them. And it's not about blasting out to everybody we know. It's like, let's do Bible studies, but I mean, there's a level of that enthusiasm that we want to bring, and that passion, that belief that we want to share with them. We want to come in contact with them. We want to mingle with them as one, desiring their good and thus winning their confidence. This step 4 is so essential, and this is a part that a lot of people skip because we like to get so exclusive to only people who think like us, who dress like us, who eat like us, who believe like us. And when we do that, our world gets more and more narrow, and our opportunity to witness is less and less. And so in step 4, we're going to be teaching you skills and tools you can use to expand your sphere of influence, to incorporate more people so that you can be a light. Because Jesus said, "Ye are a light to the world." If the world is in darkness, whose fault is that? That's ours. It's our responsibility to let our light shine. So that's step 4. And step 5 is, once you have made the connections and you have made friends, you have people, you see the spiritual interest, you have taken survey, maybe indirectly, about the needs of the people that you know, the people who are in your sphere of influence, then it's time to make an invitation. And in this process, we're going to provide you scripts, some approaches that have been very successful in sharing with others and converting an interest into a Bible study contact, and how to get that going, how to turn from someone who's an acquaintance to a friend, to a Bible study contact, to a friend for eternity. Who does anybody want to do that? I know I do. So the making the invitation is very, very simple. And that's step 5 of our simple model of discipling. Once you understand how to introduce the Bible readings in the conversation, in the relationship, then you have an unlimited amount of Bible contacts, that you will find that the harvest truly is plenteous and the laborers are few. So we need to help raise up an army, a legion of 6,000 gospel workers who know how to confidently and competently proclaim the 3 angels' messages to the entire world. And so this is what we're trying to do. That's why it's good to invite our friends. If we know people that want to give Bible studies and they want to learn how to do that, then this is a great online school of evangelism for people to attend. Step number 6 is conducting the Bible studies. Now, some of us don't know how to give studies. We don't understand the voice culture, how to ask questions that are instructive, or the art of asking questions. So we're putting together training on these subjects to show you how to conduct a group study, how to facilitate one, how to host one, how to bring appeals, how to handle objections, how to answer any objection that you will ever hear and overcome these things, how we're going to be showing you the fruit of debate and how to navigate those situations. This step 6 is going to cover a wide variety of things to help equip you to become an effective missionary for the Lord. And so we provide simple Bible readings that you can use step by step. We follow the Bible reading format. And if you don't know what a Bible reading is, it's a lesson guide that is in a question, Bible text, question, Bible text, question, Bible text format, so that anybody could give a Bible study. You may not know how to give a Bible study now, but anyone can give a Bible reading. And if you can read a question and you can answer a verse, you can do it. But everybody starts as a partner assistant first. So once they're a partner assistant, you can literally show up, sit down, observe, and listen. And as you do that, take notes, because you're going to be assigned a partner leader who has more experience, who understands our simple model of discipling a little better. And then you can learn from them how to do what they do. And once you understand the system better, recognizing we don't want what works, we want what duplicates. And then we're going to send you off to be able to go study with other people so that you can duplicate the process and start making disciples. That's step number 6. Step number 7 is to train a fellow gospel worker. We follow the plan of see one, do one, and teach one. Meaning everyone starts as a partner assistant first. So you get to see the Bible study. And then you get to do a Bible study. You get to lead out in a Bible study with your partner there, kind of serving and helping and supporting you as you lead out. And then you get to teach one. And the teach one is when you go out and you then become a partner leader yourself and you take on a partner assistant. And as you go out, give Bible studies, now you're teaching someone else how to do what you did. So at every step of the way, you're always able to see an example, because we believe that leaders go first and leaders lead by example. And as Paul said, be ye followers of me as I follow Christ. And Jesus said, let every man take up his cross and follow me. Christ took up his cross first so that we can too. We love God because he first loved us. So a lot of these, we're providing you an example that you can follow, and then a supportive environment where you can practice and do one, and then we're going to help with facilitate the teaching, where you're able to teach others, not to do in theory what you have learned from a book or from a class, but you get to share with others what you have actually done and found successful. So that's teach one. This is step number 7. Very simple. And we're not going to throw you into the water and hope that you swim. We're here to support you every step of the way. And we have step-by-step instructions and the process to help you to grow to that next stage of development, this next rank. It's like the parable of 10 talents, sticking our talents to the exchangers and always growing. So this is what we have. These are the 7 steps of discipling, our simple model of discipling, and it's very simple. I hope that you have found value in this. And again, this is on the Bible Reader Team Hub. If you want to find this website, you just go over to thearmyofyouth.com/BR for Bible Reader hyphen hub, and it'll take you straight there. This is the homepage. We provide training, resources, and contact info for support and encouragement. It's all here. So I'm looking forward as we are moving forward, using our talents for the Lord and bringing souls to Christ. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.